Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Crochet for Baby. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this tutorial. I really do appreciate your support. Now in today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this pullover sweater for boys and girls between 5 and 6 years old. You can also make it smaller or bigger, from 3 to 4 years old and bigger up to 8 years old. Down here in the information box, I'm going to leave you some information on how you can make it smaller or bigger. Also, at the end of the tutorial, I leave you the finished measurements, and I also let you know how much yarn you will need for this pullover sweater, so be sure to check that out. Also, I went ahead and did a matching hat, so stay tuned for this tutorial. Remember, my channel is bilingual. Always my videos are always in English and in Spanish. Just click the little lamp down here next to my channel name, and it'll take you to my main channel page. There you will find all of my tutorials in English and in Spanish. Now, I also have subtitles available in many languages. All you have to do is just click the 3 little dots up here to activate your subtitles. Okay, so let's get started, and thank you for watching. To begin, I'll be using this 5.5mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this medium number 4 yarn. You can use any Aran weight yarn. I'm using this yarn. It's called I Love This Yarn. This is a medium number 4 yarn in this crystal brush color. Now, to begin, I have 60 chains. This chain here is measuring about 15.5 inches, which is about 39.5 centimeters. If you're off by maybe 1 or 2 centimeters, more or less, just continue. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to join to the first chain, like this. Make sure that your chain is not twisted. Insert your hook into the first chain, like this, and make a slip stitch. Now, chain 1 and insert your hook again through these same stitches, the last chain and the first chain, and work a single crochet. Now, into each one of the next chains, you're going to make 1 single crochet, like this. So continue all around, just making 1 single crochet. At the end of this first round, we're going to have 60 single crochets. Continue, and I'll meet you at the end. Here at the end of this first row, I have a total of 60 single crochets to finish, which is going to go on top of the first single crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now, for the second row, chain 2. In this row, we're going to separate the sleeves, so you're going to need 4 stitch markers. So beginning into the same stitch here, the first one, make your first double crochet. The 2 chains never count as a stitch. Here, I'm going to make a total of 8 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double crochets. Now into the next single crochet, make 2 double crochets. Now put a stitch marker in the middle of these 2 double crochets that I just did. Now I'm going to make a total of 11 double crochets for the sleeve. So into the next, make your first double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 double crochets. Let me count them again to make sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Perfect. Now into the next single crochet, make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Again, add a stitch marker between these 2. And now for the back side, I'm going to make a total of 17 double crochets. So into the next single crochet, make your first one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let me count them again to make sure. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Perfect. Now into the next single crochet, make 2 double crochets. And then again, in the middle of these two, put your stitch marker. And now here for the other sleeve, I'm going to make 11 double crochets. So into the next, make 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now into the next, make 2 double crochets. Again, put a stitch marker in the middle of these 2 double crochets. And now here I'm going to finish with these 9 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Continue, finish these last 9 double crochets, and I'll meet you at the end of this second row. I'm here at the end of this second row. I have a total of 64 double crochets. Now to finish, we're going to go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Remember, these 2 chains never count as a stitch. Now for this third row, we're going to chain 2, and in this row we're going to begin using our pattern stitch. Now this is going to be a variation of the Alpine stitch. When you make the Alpine stitch, you make a row single crochets. I'm not going to make that row, I'm just going to directly work my pattern. So let me show you. Beginning into the same stitch where I did the slip stitch, make a double crochet. Now into the next double crochet, this one here, not this one, because this one we already have a double crochet on top. So into the next double crochet, work a front post double crochet. On top of the next, make a double crochet. Into the next, a front post double crochet. So your stitch is going to go like this: a normal double crochet on top of the next, and then into the next, a front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, and here we have our stitch marker. We're going to remove this stitch marker, and right in the middle of these 2 double crochets, I'm going to make 2 double crochets. Now put your stitch marker back again in the middle of these 2, and now here we're going to make a double crochet on top of the second double crochet out of these 2. We have 1 and 2, so on top, make sure you go here, push these 2 double crochets like this, and right on top right here, not on top of this one, because then you're going to be skipping this one. So on top of this second double crochet, make a double crochet. So we're always going to finish with a double crochet on top of the first double crochet out of these 2, and then you're going to make 2 double crochets right in the middle, and then a double crochet on top of the second double crochet. That's what it looks like this. Now into the next double crochet, work a front post double crochet on top of the next, front post double crochet, front post double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post, double crochet, double crochet, front post, double crochet, and then we have the 2 double crochets here. So on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, remove your stitch marker, and right here in the middle make 2 double crochets. Put your stitch marker back on right in the middle, and into the second double crochet out of these 2, make a double crochet, and that's what it looks like. See, double crochet on top of the first double crochet, 2 double crochets between the 2 double crochets, and then a double crochet on top of the second double crochet. Now into this next one, work a front post, double crochet on top of the next, front post, double crochet, and so on. Now here you're just going to continue with the same until you come here to the next stitch marker. I will meet you right here to show you what we need to do next. Okay, finished making my last double crochet on top of the first double crochet out of these 2 that we have here. I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and right here in the middle I'm going to make 2 double crochets. Put my stitch marker back here in the middle. Now here make a double crochet on top of the second double crochet out of the 2 that we have here in the center, and then a front post, double crochet on top of the next, front post, double crochet, front post, double crochet, and so on. I'm going to continue like this until I come to the next stitch marker. Double crochet, front post, double crochet, front post, double crochet, and then we have the stitch marker again. On top of this first double crochet, make your double crochet, remove your stitch marker, and in the middle between these 2 make 2 double crochets. Put back your stitch marker in the middle of these 2 that we just did, and then on top of the second double crochet make a double crochet, and then continue with the same sequence. Front post, double crochet, front post, double crochet, front post, double crochet on top of the next, front post, double crochet on top of the next, and I'm going to finish this row with a front post, double crochet. Now to finish this 3rd row, go on top of the first double crochet, not the 2 chains, but on top of the first double crochet, and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished this 3rd row, and you should have a total of 72 double crochets. From here on, we're always going to increase 8 stitches. We have 2, 4, 6, 8. So in every corner we make 2 double crochets, so that's 4 corners, so that's a total of 8 new stitches for every row. Now for the 4th row, we're going to chain 2. Now in the previous row I made a normal double crochet here, so in this row I'm going to work a front post double crochet. All of the normal double crochets in this row we're going to work into front post double crochets, and all of the front post double crochets that we did in the previous row we're going to make a double crochet on top. So front post double crochet on top, front post double crochet on top of the next, front post double crochet, front post double crochet, and double crochet on top of the first double crochet out of these two that we have here. I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and right in the middle of these two I'm going to make my first increase, so 2 double crochets. Put back your stitch marker, and on top of the second double crochet make a double crochet, then front post, double crochet, double crochet, front post, double crochet, and so on. I'm going to do this until I come to the next stitch marker. The important thing here is that you remember to make a front post double crochet into the normal double crochet, and on top of the double crochets that we did that were front post, just make a normal double crochet. That's how you're going to alternate with the stitch in every row. So much easier. So double crochet, and then front post double crochet, and here I have my stitch marker and my 2 double crochets, so I'm going to work a double crochet on top of the first double crochet out of these two, and in the middle make 2 double crochets. So here's our second increase. Now put back your stitch marker, and then don't forget to do your normal double crochet on top of the second double crochet. See, like this. Now work a front post double crochet into the next, then double crochet, and then front post double crochet and double crochet on top of the next. This is all I'm going to do, so continue. You're going to come here to the next stitch marker. On top of this first double crochet you will end with a double crochet on top, because this one here you're going to work into a front post double crochet, then double crochet, remove your stitch marker and do 2 double crochets here, put back your stitch marker, and then don't forget to do your first double crochet here on top of this second double crochet, and then front post normal, front post normal, and so on. Continue, and I will meet you at the end of this 4th row. I'm here at the end of this 4th row. Here at the end I finished with a double crochet on top of this front post double crochet from the previous row. Now to finish, we're going to go on top of the first front post double crochet in this case and join with a slip stitch. Remember, the 2 chains never count as a stitch, and in this 4th row you should have 80 double crochets. From here on we are always going to increase 8 stitches on every row. Now for the 5th row we're going to chain 2, and in this row what I'm going to do is into this same stitch where I did the slip stitch, which is the first stitch, I'm going to make a double crochet. Now all of the double crochets that were worked normal on the previous row, in this row we have to work them into front post double crochets. The front post double crochets that we did on the previous row, now you're just going to make a double crochet on top. So front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, and you're going to finish this side by making a double crochet into the first double crochet out of these 2 that we have here. This is the increase from the previous row, so remove your stitch marker in the middle, add 2 double crochets, put your stitch marker back in the middle of these 2, and then begin this side by making a double crochet on top of the second double crochet out of these 2, and then start your pattern. All of the double crochets that are normal, now you're going to make them into front post double crochets. Double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet. And that's all I'm going to do until I come to the next stitch marker. Now at the end of this 5th row, we're going to have 88 double crochets. Continue, and I'll meet you here at the end to show you once again how to finish each row and then how to begin the next. I'm here at the end of this 5th row. I have a total of 88 double crochets. My last stitch here is a front post double crochet. Now to finish, we're going to go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Remember, the 2 chains never count as a stitch. From here on, these are the 2 rows that we're going to repeat, and from here on we're always going to increase 8 stitches for every row. So now for the 6th row, you're going to chain 2, and in this row, look at your first double crochet right here. This one is just a normal double crochet, so in this next row I'm going to work this into a front post double crochet. On top of the front post double crochet, make a double crochet. Into the double crochet, work a front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet. Now just remember that all of the normal double crochets are worked into front post double crochets, and then the front post double crochets, all you do is just make a double crochet on top. Now I'm almost to the first stitch marker, so I should always finish each side by making a double crochet into the first double crochet out of these 2, which is our increase. Remove our stitch marker, and in the middle between these 2, work 2 double crochets. Here's our increase. Put back your stitch marker in the middle of these 2 that we just made, and you're always going to begin each side by making a double crochet into the second double crochet, and then front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet. You're going to continue like this until you come to the next stitch marker, and you're going to do the exact same thing I just did here. Now you're going to continue like this all around. At the end of this 6th row, you should have a total of 96 double crochets. To finish, you're going to join here on top of the first double crochet, not the chains but the double crochet, and join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then repeat the next row. The important thing here is to always add 2 double crochets where you have your stitch marker, and that you work the normal double crochets into front post double crochets, and then the front post double crochets, you just make a double crochet. And that's all we're going to do for the rest of the yoke. Now I'm not exactly sure how many rows I'm going to do. I'm making this sweater for my son, so I'm just going to continue and I'm going to measure it on him. So continue watching and I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do for this part. So I'll meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I did a total of 13 rows, and it's measuring from the middle of the neckline down to the last row that I did. It's measuring about 6 inches, which is about 15.5 centimeters. Right across, right here, it's measuring about 7.25 inches, which is about 18.5 centimeters. So now what I'm going to do in the next row is I'm going to divide the sleeves. But before I do that, if you notice, I changed color for 2 rows. So the first row is row 10. So in row 10, I changed to this blue yarn, and then I did row 11 and 12 in the same color. And then for row 13, which is the last one that I did, I also changed it to this blue color. Now I didn't show you this part because really there isn't much to show. It's just a matter of changing, you know, your yarn to a different color, and it's a darker color, so it would have been hard for you all to see exactly what I was doing, which is basically nothing. It's just the same thing throughout, just changing your yarn to another color. So if you want to do it in the same way, I changed color for row 10 and for row 13. That's all. So at the end of this 13th row, I have a total of 152 double crochets or stitches. Now we're going to change back to the main color. So I joined here to the beginning on top of the first stitch with a slip stitch. Now again, I'm going to insert my hook into the same stitch. I'm going to grab a loop with my color, with my main color, bring it through this loop. Now pull and that stitch is going to close. Now chain 2, 1, 2, and into this same stitch here. Now my first stitch here is a normal double crochet, so in this row I have to work this into a front post double crochet on top, front post double crochet, and so on. Continue, and I'll meet you right here where we have these 2 double crochets in this corner to show you how I'm going to divide the first sleeve. Okay, I have 20 stitches here. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. My last double crochet was on top of the first double crochet out of these 2 that we do here in this corner. See, this is the corner. So on top of the first double crochet, I did a double crochet, just like we normally would if we were to continue with a normal row. So what I'm going to do next is I'm not going to do anything right here in the middle. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to work a front post double crochet into this second double crochet. Now I'm going to skip these stitches for the sleeve, and into this next corner right here we have the 2 double crochets that we always do here. Now I'm going to skip this double crochet, and into the second double crochet out of these 2 in the corner I'm going to go right on top and make a normal double crochet. Now into the next, which is this one here, work a front post double crochet on top, and then front post double crochet. From here the stitch is the same, you just continue in the same way, front post double crochet or just a normal double crochet until you come to the next corner right here. I will meet you here to show you how we're going to divide the second sleeve. Okay, I finished making these 41 double crochets. So from here where we divided the sleeves, I have 41. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 41 stitches. Now I'm right here where we have the 2 double crochets that we always make in this corner. So my last double crochet is just a normal double crochet on top of the first double crochet. Now into the second double crochet, this one here, I'm going to work a front post double crochet. I'm going to skip these stitches here for the sleeve, and I'm going to go to the next corner and find my 2 double crochets, these here. Now I'm going to skip the first one, and into the second I'm going to work a normal double crochet on top. Now into the next double crochet, this one here, work a front post double crochet on top of the next front post double crochet, and so on. Here you're just going to continue with your pattern stitch until we finish this first row. I'll meet you at the end of the first row. I'm here at the end of this first row. Now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the first row. Now you should have a total of 84 stitches. We have 42 for the back panel and 42 for the front side. Now it's measuring from here to here, it's measuring about 26 inches, which is about 66 centimeters. Now, as it is, I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm just going to continue with the rest and just work my pattern stitch for the rest of the sweater. So to do this, for the second row, you're going to chain 2, and in my last row, this was a front post double crochet. So now right on top, I'm going to make a double crochet, then front post double crochet on top, front post double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for this second row. Just continue with the same pattern all around. So continue, and I will meet you here at the end of this row to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this second row. I have 84 stitches. Now to finish this row and all the rows to follow, you're always going to join to the top of the first stitch. Not the chains, but the first double crochet. Now from here on, you're just going to repeat these 2 rows. We're not going to increase or anything. You're just going to continue for the rest of the sweater working the same pattern stitch. and you're always going to finish with 84 stitches, not including the 2 chains. So for the third row, let me start you off here. You're going to chain 2. Now in the previous row, this is a normal double crochet, so to begin this third row, I'm going to work a front post double crochet. In the next row, you're going to do a double crochet on top, and into this next one, just work a double crochet, front post double crochet, and then front post double crochet, and then the rest you just follow with the same stitch pattern. Okay, I'm not exactly sure how many rows I'm going to do for the rest of the sweater, but just continue like this and I'll meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I'm here at the end of the 18th row, so in total I have done 18 rows from here where we divided the sleeves, and it's measuring from the top of the neckline right here, right in the middle, to the end of this last row that I did. It's measuring about 13.5 inches, which is about 34 centimeters. Now, what I'm going to do in this next row, row 19, is I'm going to switch to this 5mm crochet hook. Now I'm going to do one row in this color. So here, to start you off, row 19 with the 5mm crochet hook, I'm going to chain 2, and then for me this is a front post double crochet, my first stitch, then a double crochet, then front post double crochet, and so on. I'm going to continue like this all around. When I finish, I'm just going to go here to the top of the first stitch. Okay, I'm here at the end of this 21st row. I told you I was going to only do 2 rows using this 5mm crochet hook, but I decided to go ahead and make one more row. So I did row 19, 20, and 21 using this 5mm crochet hook. And the reason why I went ahead and did this with this smaller hook is because my son is very skinny, so I wanted this part here to be a bit more fitted. Now, you could have easily continued the rest of the sweater using the 5.5mm crochet hook. It's okay. I'm only doing this to make sure that this part here fits well on my son since he is very skinny. So really, you could have done this part here with the same hook that we began the sweater. So just thought I'd let you know that. So now to finish this row 21, just go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for the next row, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1, and into this same stitch here I'm going to make a single crochet. Now 1 single crochet on each one of these stitches all around is all I'm going to do. At the end of this row single crochets, I'm going to have 84 single crochets. Now to finish, we're just going to join here to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. I'll continue, finish this row single crochets, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this row of single crochets. Here to finish, let's just join here to the beginning with a slip stitch. Now to do the rest of the sweater, what I'm going to do here is we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you want to do less chains for this bottom part of the sweater, then by all means go ahead and do less chains. The way to do it is going to be the same whether you have more chains or less chains. So here I'm going to turn this like this, and I'm going to work my way down working single crochets. So into the second chain from the hook, make a single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 single crochets. From here on, we are always going to have 9 single crochets. Now, we're going to make 2 slip stitches. The first one is going to be into the same stitch where I did the slip stitch to finish the row of single crochets. So insert your hook there and make a slip stitch into the next single crochet. Now turn, and here you're going to have to be careful. The easiest way is for you to count from the top down. So we're going to count 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right here, this is my 9th single crochet. I'm going to insert my hook through the back loop only of this 9th single crochet, and I'm going to make a single crochet. This is to make sure that you are not making this first single crochet into the slip stitches. So once you get the hang of this stitch here, you'll be okay. But for the first couple rows, it's kind of hard. So now I'm going to work my way up, making these 9 single crochets. So let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we're going to turn like this, chain 1, and we're going to work our way down and make 9 single crochets. So beginning on top of this first one, through the back loop, make your first single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're going to go into the next 2 single crochets right here, these 2 single crochets, and into the first make a slip stitch, into the second a slip stitch. Now turn, and again count 9 single crochets from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right here, insert your hook through the back loop and make your first single crochet, and then work your way up making single crochet. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Turn, chain 1, and then work your way down, starting on top of the first single crochet, and make your first single crochet until you have 9. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 single crochets. Now into the next 2 single crochets, work a slip stitch into the first and a slip stitch into the second. Now you're going to turn and into the 9th single crochet from the top down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right here. Insert your hook through the back loop and work your first single crochet, and then continue again working 9 single crochets, chain 1, turn, and then work your way down. And that's all I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to work this part here at the bottom of the sweater. Now, if this part here is too hard or you can't do it because it is more work, then do maybe 5, 6 rows of single crochets. It's okay. I think it'll look nice as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo the single crochet row and then work the remainder of this part here in this blue color. So I'll come back and show you once this part here is done to show you how we're going to join to the last row. I'll see you then. Okay, I finished making my last row. Here what I did was I ended here at the top, and then what I did was just join with the first row, and then I just did slip stitches here until I came here to the bottom and did my last slip stitch. So I did a total of 9 slip stitches. Now I cut my yarn, so I'm just going to pass my yarn through this last loop, and then with a needle I'm just going to join this last stitch here so that there is no opening. Really doesn't really matter, you could hardly see it, but I'm going to do that. So that's how I joined here to the very last row, and that's what it looks like. So this is the back, there it is, and this is the front. I think it looks very nice. Now this part here, let me measure it for you. It's measuring, let's see, it's about it's about 7 centimeters, which is about 2.75 inches. So if you want this part to be less wide, then make less chains, and it should work out as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the neckline. I'm going to do the same thing I did here. I'm going to do it here around the neckline, but I'm not going to do as many rows or as many chains. So beginning into this part here where we finished, this is where we have the chain. So right there, insert your hook. I'm going to do this just to show you with the same yarn, but I'm going to undo it and then do it in this blue color. So here, just pull a loop through like this. Bring it through the front. This is the back side. So chain one and into the same stitch here, make a single crochet. Now we're going to go into each one of these chains, making one single crochet like this, right along the very top. So continue like this, and I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end. I did a total of 62 single crochets. Now to finish, go on top of the first single crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now this next part, what I'm going to do is the same thing we did here at the bottom, except that I'm going to chain 5. It's 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to work our way down, making one single crochet starting on the second chain from the hook. Make your first single crochet. That's 1 into the next, 2, 3, and 4. Now into this same stitch where I did the slip stitch, insert your hook and make a slip stitch, and into the next another slip stitch. Now we're going to turn. Don't chain or anything, but count 4 from the top down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So into this fourth, through the back loop, insert your hook and make your first single crochet. Then into the next, always through the back loop, work your way up, making single crochet. So this is my fourth. Turn, chain 1, and repeat. Into the first single crochet, make a single crochet, always go through the back loop, and that's all I'm going to do. This is the exact same thing I showed you. So into the next 2, make a slip stitch, 1 and then 2, turn and repeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the fourth through the back loop, work a single crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to do this part here. Now, like I said, I'm going to undo this row of single crochets, and I'm going to use this blue color, and I'm going to do the rest also using this blue color. Okay, so continue, and I'll meet you once this part here is done, and then we're going to do the sleeves. So I'll meet you back then. Okay, we're going to make a slight change here. I just showed you this in another color, but I went ahead and did it, and it looks a little too loose around the neckline, and I want this part to be a bit more snug around the neckline. If you like the way that it looks where it's a bit loose, then do what I just showed you, but here I'm going to make a slight change. So here we did 5 chains, and then we worked our way down and worked these 4 single crochets, and then I told you to go into the next 2 single crochets and work a slip stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the next 3 single crochets and work a slip stitch. So like this, 1, 2, 3, turn, and then skip these 3 slip stitches and go right into the 4th single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do your single crochet, and then work your way up and do 4 single crochets. This is going to help this part not be as loose. There, so now turn, chain 1, and then work your way down and work 4 single crochets. 1, 2, remember we always go through the back loop, 3, 4. Now work 3 slip stitches, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, turn, and then find your fourth single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and right there insert your hook and make your first single crochet. So the only difference is the number of slip stitches that we do from what I showed you prior to this. I showed you with 2 slip stitches and then here with 3, and everything else remains the same. You turn, chain 1, and then work your way down, making these 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then work 1, 2, 3 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, turn, and find your fourth single crochet, which is this one here, and make your first single crochet, so that, and then complete these next 4 single crochets, and so on. That's how you're going to continue for the rest. I think this is going to make a big difference, and it's going to look more snug around the neckline, but if you really don't mind it being loose, then keep it in the same way that I showed you prior to this. Okay, so continue. Let's finish this, and then I'll show you how to make the sleeves. Okay, I finished making the neckline, and this is what it looks like. This is the back. Here to finish, it's just joined in the same way that I did the bottom part, by making slip stitches to the first row, and then just pass my yarn through that last loop, cut my yarn, and here I'm just going to hide my ends. And this is what it looks like. I like the way that this looks now on my son. It's a bit more snug around the neckline. If you want to make it more a bit more loose, maybe you're making this for bigger size, then do the first version that I showed you, where you only make 2 slip stitches and then work your next row. Here I did 3 slip stitches and then turn and then did the next row, just like I showed you in my previous video. So the neckline is done. This is what it looks like. I love the way that this looks on my son now, and I also went ahead and did one of the sleeves. Now I ran into a slight problem here. This is all the yarn that I have, which is not enough for me to make both sleeves in this color. I was planning to do it in the same color here, but I went to the store and they don't have that yarn anymore, so I decided to make it in this blue color, which I think also looks very nice. I like the way that it looks, and my son loves it, so that's the important thing. So now let me show you how we're going to do the sleeve. I'm going to show you in this color here so that you can see, but as you can see, I'm going to do it in blue. So we're going to start here on this side. Now for this sleeve, you're going to start here on the back side. So for this sleeve, we're going to start here in the front. So beginning here, the first thing is we're going to make a slip knot, but we're going to leave about, I don't know, 12 inches here, because what's going to happen once we make the sleeve for the first row is there's going to be a small gap here, which we're going to use this yarn here that I left to join both of these sides like this, and then that takes care of that gap there. So make sure you leave a bit of yarn here to do that part. So we're going to start here. Like I said, this is the front, so we're going to insert our hook right here. This is where we divide it, see, right here. So into this same stitch, this is where we were doing the 2 double crochets for every corner. So right there, insert your hook and grab a loop. I'm going to be doing this with the 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. We're going to do a couple rows in this with this hook, and then we're going to switch to the 5 millimeter crochet hook. But here to begin, we're just going to insert our hook there and make 1 chain. Now this first double crochet, which is the second double crochet when we were doing the 2 double crochets here for the corners, work into a front post double crochet. On top of the front post double crochet that follows, make a double crochet. Front post double crochet, double crochet, front post double crochet, front post double crochet, then double crochet, and front post double crochet, and so on. From here on, that's how the pattern goes all around the sleeve. So continue, and I will meet you here at this other end to show you how we're going to finish this first row. Okay, I'm here at this other side of the sleeve. This is the first row, and up to here I have 34 stitches. From here on, we're going to always have 34 stitches. So here, to finish this first row, we're going to go directly on top of the first stitch that I did. In this case is a front post double crochet, so right on top, join with a slip stitch. Now this is the gap that I told you that's going to be left. So with the yarn that we left here, in my case is going to be blue, so it's going to match here. I'm just going to tie a little knot to join both of these rows like this, and that should close that gap there. So now to continue with the second row here, I'm going to chain 1 from here on. The stitch pattern is the same, everything remains the same, the front post and the double crochets, but here instead of making 2 chains, I'm now only going to make 1 chain. So beginning into this same stitch where I did the slip stitch, I'm going to make a double crochet, because in the first row I did this into a front post double crochet, so now I need to do a double crochet, and all of the normal double crochets that I did, I'm now going to work into front post double crochet. So the pattern is the same, front post double crochet, then a normal double crochet on top of the front post, and then front post double crochet, and then double crochet, and so on. Continue for this second row. At the end of the second row, you're going to have again 34 stitches. I'll meet you here at the end of this second row to show you once again how to finish each row from here on and how to start the next one. I'm here at the end of the second row. I have a total of 34 stitches. My last stitch here is a front post double crochet. So to finish this row and all the rows to follow, you're always going to go on top of the first stitch to join with a slip stitch. And that's how we finish the second row with 34 stitches. Now from here on, this is what you're going to do. You're going to repeat the first and the second row. So to start you off on the third row, chain 1. Remember to always chain 1 here. Now in this row, this is a normal double crochet, so for the third row I'm going to work this into a front post double crochet, and then double crochet on top, front post double crochet on top, and so on. The rest is the same. You're just going to continue with the same pattern. Now when you finish this row, you're just going to join to the top of the first stitch with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then start again the next row. In the next row, you're going to make a double crochet on top of this front post, and then all of the double crochets you're going to work into front post double crochets. Now we're going to do this for a total of 6 rows with the 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Then from row 7 up to row 23 for a total of 17 rows, use this 5 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, so continue and I will meet you at the end of row 23. Okay, I'm here at the end of the 23rd row, and this is what I have done so far. For 6 rows, I worked the stitch with a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Then I switched to a 5 millimeter crochet hook for a total of 17 rows. So I'm here at the end of the 23rd row. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to now reduce some stitches here around this next row. To begin, we're going to chain 1. Now, I know this is going to be kind of hard to see, but I'm going to try my best to explain as much as I can. So chain 1, and for me, I have to start with a normal double crochet. So I'm going to do my normal double crochet, and then into these next 2 stitches, I have to work a front post double crochet and then a normal double crochet on top of this front post double crochet. So this is where I'm going to do my first reduction. So yarn over, insert your hook like this. We're going to make our front post double crochet, but we're not going to close. We're going to leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over again, then go on top of the front post double crochet and work your double crochet. Take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. And here's our 1 stitch now. See, we just reduced 1. Now into the next 2 stitches, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work a front post double crochet into this double crochet, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, go on top of the next double crochet, and make your double crochet on top, closed all 3 loops. And here's the second reduction. So we just did 2 reductions here. Now for the rest of the row, I'm just going to work our pattern. I'm not going to work any reductions. I'm just going to work each one of these stitches like they're supposed to. Double crochet on top of the front post double crochet, and then the double crochets I work into front post double crochets. I'm going to do this until I come here almost to the end, 5 stitches before, right about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will meet you here to show you how we're going to finish this first row of reduction. I'm here at the end of this first row of reduction. Up to here I have 27 stitches. Now I have 5 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work 2 stitch reductions. So beginning into these next 2, I have to do a front post double crochet and a double crochet. So to do this, I'm going to yarn over, insert your hook through this stitch like this, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, then go on top of the front post and make your normal double crochet where you close through all 3 loops. And here's the first reduction. Now into the next 2, I need to do the same thing. So work a front post double crochet, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, go on top of the next stitch and work your normal double crochet where you close through these 3 loops. And here's the second reduction. Now into this last stitch right here, I need to work this last one into a normal front post double crochet. So now I have a total of 30 stitches. We reduced 2 at the beginning and 2 at the end. We had a total of 34, so now we have 30 stitches. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. And here's our first row of reduction. I'm going to put a stitch marker just to mark the first row here. So now for the second row of reduction, I'm going to chain 1. Now this first stitch for me, I have to work into a front post double crochet. And then the next stitch I have to do a normal double crochet on top, which I am going to do. And then the next stitch I have to work into a front post double crochet. So I'm going to work this whole stitch here into a front post double crochet. Now this stitch is one of the reductions. It's got 2 legs. If you notice, it's got a front post and a double crochet into one. So just insert your hook like this and work your front post double crochet. Now so far I have 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. Now into these next 2 stitches I'm going to work 1 reduction on this side, and then I'm going to do the same thing at the end. So here I have to do a normal double crochet on top of this front post, and then a front post double crochet into this double crochet. So insert your hook on top, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, then work a front post double crochet where you close through these 3 loops. And here's the reduction right there. Now I'm going to continue with the pattern. I'm not going to make any more reductions. I'm just going to work either a front post double crochet or a double crochet like this. And I'm going to do this all around until I come to right here, 5 stitches before we finish. So that's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will meet you right about here to show you how we're going to reduce here and then finish this second row. I'm here at the end of this second row of reduction. I still have 5 more stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to here I have 24 stitches. Now into these next 2 is where I'm going to work my reduction. So yarn over, here on top of this front post I need to make a normal double crochet, but I'm not going to close. I'm going to leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, then into the next I'm going to work my front post double crochet where I close through these 3 loops. And here's the reduction. Now into the next stitch I need to do a double crochet on top. This is one of the reductions. And then the next stitch, this one here, I need to work a front post double crochet. I'm just going to do it like this and then finish here. This is my last stitch with a double crochet on top. So now you should have 28 stitches all around. Now to finish the second row, go on top of the first stitch and make a slip stitch. And this is how I finish the second row with 28 stitches. Now we're going to work 1 more row of reductions, so chain 1. So here to begin I have to make my first double crochet here into the same stitch, which is the first one. So just make a normal double crochet. Then the next stitch I have to work into a front post double crochet. The next one a double crochet on top. And then we have this stitch reduction that we did on the previous row. I have to do a front post double crochet here. And then we have the next 2 stitches where I need to do a front post and a double crochet. So here's where I'm going to reduce the stitch. So yarn over, work a front post double crochet, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go on top of the next stitch and make your normal double crochet where you close through these 3 loops. And here's the reduction. Now from here on, you're just going to continue and work your stitch in the same way. So continue, and I will meet you here right before we finish, right about here, 6 stitches before we finish. So I'll meet you here to show you how we're going to reduce here and then finish this 3rd row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this 3rd row of reduction. Up to here I have 21 stitches and I still have 6 stitches left. So into these next 2 I have to work a front post double crochet and a double crochet on top. So yarn over, work a front post double crochet, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops, yarn over, go on top of the next stitch and make a double crochet where you close through these 3 loops. And here is the stitch reduction. Now into the next stitch I need to work a normal double crochet. Let's see, normal double crochet, and then front post double crochet, double crochet, and then finish with a front post double crochet. Now you should have 26 stitches for this 3rd row. Now to finish, we're going to go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now I'm not going to reduce anymore. I'm just going to make 1 more row of single crochet. So chain 1 and into this stitch here, make your first single crochet, then 1 single crochet for each one of the stitches all around. And we should finish this row with a total of 26 single crochets. So continue and I'll meet you here at the end. Okay, I'm here at the end of this row of single crochets. I have 26 single crochets. Now to finish, we're just going to go on top of the first single crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this row of single crochets. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work the cuff here like this. Here I did a total of 5 chains so that I can have 4 single crochets. So we're going to do the same thing. Now I'm going to show you this with this color here. I didn't have enough to make the sleeves, but I'm going to show you this part in this color, but then I'm going to undo it and then do it in the blue color because that's my main color here. So here, if you're not changing color, then just chain 5 here. So oops, I'm not going to make a knot here. Just insert your hook through that same stitch where we did the slip stitch, grab this loop, bring it through the front and make a slip stitch again. Pass it through that loop, pull your yarn here, and now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here into the second chain, make your first single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4 single crochets. Now into this same stitch where I did the slip stitch right here to join, I'm going to make my first slip stitch, but this is only to start here, and then into the next single crochet a slip stitch. Now turn, and we're going to work 4 single crochets, so we're going to work our way up. So find your 4th single crochet, this one here, and make 1. Make sure you only go through the back loop. 2, 3, 4. 4 single crochets, turn, chain 1, and then repeat. Insert your hook through the back loop and make 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets. Now into the next 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. This is where we're going to make always our slip stitches, always into the next 2. That's 1 and 2. Turn and then repeat. Make 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn, chain 1, and then repeat. Single crochet into the first, always through the back loop. That's 2, 3, 4, and then into the next 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, make a slip stitch. 1, 2, turn, and then repeat 4 single crochets. And this is how I'm going to work this part here. And once you're done, this is how it's going to look, like this. We're just going to join to the first here. Make sure that when you finish you're at the top, and then you join and then work your way down. And that's how I'm going to do this part here. So I'm going to undo this and then make it in this blue color. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you the finished sleeve. Okay, finished making the sleeve, but before I show it to you, I'm going to show you how we're going to close this hole here under the sleeve. Now, remember we left a small tail of yarn here, so all you're going to do is just join this side with this side. So it's just a small stitch that you're going to do. You're going to go here to this side. The thing here is that you don't want this blue yarn to show here in the gray. So just join this here like this, and then just do a couple of stitches like this, and now both sides are joined. And if you feel that you need to do another one maybe up here, then just do it in the same way. And this is going to close that gap. So I think that's fine. This is what it looks like. Perfect. Just going to make a little knot here and then just hide this end. And this part here is done. So I'll come back and show you the finished sleeve. Okay, I finished making this part here. Here at the end, all I did was just join the first row with the last row and worked my way down making slip stitches. And then I just cut my yarn, passed my yarn through this last loop. So the sleeve is done, and this is what it looks like. Now you're going to do the exact same thing I did here. You're going to do here on this side. Nothing changes, so you're going to do it in the exact same way. So the sweater is done for me. This is what it looks like. So that's the back, that's the bottom, and this is the front. So the sweater is done. So now let me give you the finished measurements. From the top of the neckline down to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring 51 centimeters, which is about 20 inches. From under the sleeve up to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring 12.5 inches, which is about 32 centimeters. From the top of the neckline down to the end here, it's measuring about 18 inches, which is about 45.5 centimeters. And around this part, the chest area, it's measuring about 26 inches, which is about 66 centimeters. So based on these measurements, this sweater here is for boys between 5 and 6 years old. You can also make it for girls. I would just change the color. Now, as far as yarn, I used exactly 412 grams of yarn, 220 grams in the gray, and 192 grams in blue. Now, I also had enough yarn to make the matching hat. This one here, I had more of the gray yarn left. I didn't have enough for the sleeve, but I did have enough to make a hat. So here is the hat as well. So I'll go ahead and upload this tutorial after the sweater. If you want to make it to match your sweater, stay tuned. Now, like I said, the sweater here is for boys between 5 and 6 years old, but you'll be able to make it smaller. I'd say between 3 and 4 years old, or bigger up to 8 years old. So be sure to check out down here in the information box on how you can make it smaller or bigger. Now let me know what you think of this sweater, and if you want me to make more in this size, I can gladly do that for you all. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.